then it was like real life examples. It would be like guys from the neighborhood whose older brothers were like making a living selling weed. And you're just like, that you can actually do that?
And they were quiet about it.
Yeah, and like they didn't have jobs. Like that's what they did. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do anything else. Like
How
when
would
I
they
saw
hide that to the government? Did they, like, were you learning that?
Dude, it probably wasn't even a lie. It was probably like 50 grand a year, right? That they were making 50, 60 grand a year.
So they say they're a caddy.
Yeah, whatever, right?
Yeah.
A waiter or something. But in 2001, that was like a fortune. That was when rent in Portland was like $300 a month. So you're like, holy fuck, that's insane. But a lot of them did get busted. You know, people were getting popped left and right. You know, we would hear about it. Everybody, even middle class people in Portland back then, everybody knew somebody that was in that game that had gone down for something. Yeah, it was very weird. This like criminal dichotomy that it used to exist. Doesn't really anymore though.
What made you stick with weed?
Just because that was what we had access to. Like we could never. It was really hard to get good coke. Even when even when we could get like half a key or something like that, it would. Yeah, we never had like that like straight from San Diego just came over the border kind of plug.
Even out there?
Even out there, we would always get middlemanned. Like we could never meet
shit.
the And I never asked the Mexicans I was picking up weed from. I never broached it with them. I just didn't. I don't know why. I just wanted to keep the two lanes separate, you know. But
were you afraid of them?
I wasn't afraid of them. I was afraid of the coke game in general. Whenever I would start selling more coke, especially bulk coke, like when people would ask me for like 4 ounces, I would go do it, but I was scared because I was like, this is how you get caught.
Oh, so you dabbled a little bit, but nothing.
Oh yeah. No, we sold coke. There's no doubt.
Okay.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah. You had to because, like, again, especially before you were big time in selling weed, like you had to have a bunch of different things just to make a living. Sold shrooms, like whatever was winning, whatever you could get like a good price on that you could turn around. You know.
Right. Now, what made your Cody? Cody leave?
I think he was just tired of it. I think this is when we hit, like, we were driving back from Humboldt, like a 10-hour drive back from Humboldt County back to Portland.
Oh, so you went up to visit the...
Yeah, we went down to try to pick up, and this was like August, and nobody had any weed. So you would go down, to like Medford or some little town in Southern Oregon, that connect would be dry. So then you would go into like Crescent City, Northern California, that guy would be dry. Then you're like an hour and a half from San Francisco. That's how deep into the forest you are. You're so far south, and then that guy was dry.
It's like the fucking Sahara.
Right. And so we got all this fucking cash and no weed. And he was like, dude, I don't think it's worth it, man. And we were only like, making, this is when it was like $100,000 a year. And
That's not nothing when you're like 22, though, 23, you know?
For sure. But we had to split it, and it was starting to get really difficult in Portland. Everybody started growing their own weed, and everybody had like a local source. So it made it to where even before weed became legal everywhere, it started in Oregon. That was where like the gloves were off. So you couldn't sell there anymore. So we were like, where's our market? You know?
Yeah.
So he just got out of the game. I just gave him a little bit of money, and it was just me on my own. I had to figure it out.
How is the market these days? I mean, you talk to a lot of people who obviously know what's going on. You're not in the game anymore, but how is the market these days, even out in what we would call like a hot spot for that stuff, like California, Oregon, the West Coast, when you have this like massive legalization going on?
Yeah. So okay, I actually had a guy on who has a legal weed, like $100 million legal weed company, and he broke it down for me. So. And when he says legal, it's hemp. Okay. So meaning the THC level is a little lower. I didn't know any of that, though. Like, that's how these guys who advertise on my show, who advertise on other people's shows, that's how they say it's federally legal. We can ship it anywhere because it's got the lower THC, which is like, it's such a fucking stupid loophole. I'm like, what are we doing here? Yeah. Like, let's just end this. But there's so much money in keeping it illegal.
You know the government's got to ease their way into it. They can't just jump in the deep end.
But they're going the other way. Texas is about to, like, as we speak, your producer could probably look it up. Has Greg Abbott made a decision. Has he signed the bill to essentially criminalize
I saw
cannabis
this.
in Texas?
Yeah.
It's in front of his desk as of like 2 days ago.
Abbott faces political heat over THC crackdown.
But we don't know if he's...
All right, so why it matters. Gummies and all matters of THC products, along with a multi-billion-dollar industry, are on the chopping block. The state's 2019 agricultural hemp law opened the door for hemp farming and the sale of products containing less than, there it is, 0.3% of THC. Business took off for the farmers, but some Republican lawmakers, led by Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, are concerned about unregulated market and THC products reaching children. They're now seeking to shut down the industry. On the one hand, Abbott could sign Senate Bill 3 to show he's tough on crime. On the other, he's now facing pushback from key Republican constituents and veterans groups who have urged him to veto the bill.
Yeah, so you even have veterans that are like, hey, my leg got blown off, I need to smoke. So that could maybe help, right? Because we're supposed to love our veterans. Aren't we supposed to love our veterans?
To love them, yes.
But they're like living under bridges. So that hasn't. I don't know where that love's going.
I think it's more of, unfortunately, I mean this seriously.
It's more an emotional love. It's not really a financially we're going to help you love.
And it's a political talking point. And unfortunately, a lot of these people don't fucking really care, which is very sad.
That's right. That's right. I didn't know Dan Patrick from ESPN was now Lieutenant Governor of Texas. That's really interesting. Yeah. All right, if you're old, you get it. So okay. So I guess he hasn't signed it yet, but what that's doing is just giving a win to our boys from Mexico, right? They're like, oh my God, what we thought it was over. Now they're fucking sliding back. This is great.
So they're still, but even though it's more annoying for them, they're still able to get wins now because of the regulation on a lot of stuff.
That's right. That's right. So we were talking about the legal market and how the cartels fit in to that framework, right?
Yeah.
So yes, because of the hemp, the 0.3% or lower of THC, and the taxation, especially in California, we've learned. Oregon, I'm not sure about anymore. I know the price bottomed out because there was weed shops everywhere. Same with in Washington. California, the taxes, the cost of opening a business, the cost of doing a business. Right. You have state tax, county tax, municipal tax, local city taxes. It almost doubles the price of the actual product that you're paying for. Mm-hmm. So yes, that leaves a huge market open for the cartels who grow the shit in places where I couldn't even, when I was picking up from them, it dwarfs the size of those old gardens that they used to have. Like, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands of plants, and you get eight pounds per plant. We're talking millions of pounds these people are producing in spots all over rural California and in Northern California, right? And then what they do is then through middleman, they get it to legal shops, right?
Yes.
And that's one way.
Like
and
through the back door.
That's right. And then they just don't declare it, and then they can lower the cost of what they sell it to people for, and then also just street people, guys, weed guys.
It's like the new cigarette skim, like from the Goodfellas days.
Right, exactly.
Kind of the same thing in the back door, like, oh yeah, just fell off the truck.
Yeah, I mean, they have that in Britain. We went out and interviewed a bunch of British gangsters, and they have a huge untaxed alcohol import racket because their alcohol there is taxed like our weed is taxed. So there's huge money in buying bulk wine and liquor in France and then smuggling it over the channel into Britain, and you just don't declare the import tax.
Hey guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It's a huge, huge help. Thank you.
Yeah. So anything the government ever tries to do when it comes to taxation, there's always going to be people there to fill the void. So you're given a gift, but with Texas, if all THC products become illegal, then you're just basically taking us back to like the 90s.
Right.
So now there's big money. They're chomping at the bit. It's funny, the Republicans that want to crack down on crime and Mexicans,
not this one.
They are allies with the Mexicans. They are allies with the worst kind of Mexicans.
What's the old blood?
They're so stupid.
They're like, on this one, we're together.
We're together.
Have you had on John Norris or Jorge Ventura?
Yeah, Jorge Ventura.
Okay.
He's the one that really
Yes.
go watch that episode if you're fascinated by the legal or the illegal grow ops, marijuana grow ops
Unreal.
in California. It's unreal. And these guys are like, they're aggressive about it. And they're coming around to like these rural Californians, these Okies that have been there since like the 1930s, and they buy them out. They say, hey, this place is going to shit because of us. It's not going to get any better. Like, we'll pay you cash for your ranch. And they bounce. And then they take over these big ranches. And they have drones everywhere. And they treat it kind of like how they treat rural areas in Mexico. It's tough not to admire these guys.
Honestly, I think.
How can you not?
I'm serious though.
Yeah.
When you think about the level of like sophistication and genius that goes into not just Mexico and the cartels we're talking about, but high level organized crime throughout history, it's like, God damn, if these guys had decided to be scientists, like they'd have probably been fucking great at it.
Right.
You know?
And the persistence.
Yes.
So we know that talent, when it comes to success, talent is like 10%. Persistence, trust me, I work in show business. Talent is maybe 10% of it, okay? I've seen some of the most untalented people, but that have all the drive, become successful beyond belief. It's all about drive and persistence. These guys are relentless. They're like, okay, no problem. We can't bring immigrants in anymore. That's fine. That we made billions. We get it. We'll go off into some other shit.
The smuggling
it's
industry's
fine,
passed.
dude. It's fine. We're into stolen gas now. Huachicol, as they call it.
They're doing stolen gas.
They've been doing it, but now they're doing it at a rate that's like,
How does this work?
unbelievable. They steal oil and gasoline from Pemex, which is the nationalized oil and gas company, Pemex, Pemexico, and they independent people come out. Vice News did a piece about this. They come out and they just find where the pipeline that runs through Mexico. Independent people can just drill into it, steal it, then they sell it to the cartels, who then partner with nice, legitimate gasoline franchise owners, brokers, etc., in America, and they sell it to them on the low.
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.